I think the lore as we go is just going to expand and become even more valuable as the platform grows and develops. So I'm really excited to see how all that integrates.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. That's something I don't normally get to really discuss a whole lot, and that is that the game started off as very technical. It's
Yeah.
very much like, hey, this is a blockchain game, and the any art or lore is basically just kind of like duct taped on, and said that that's kind of almost as an afterthought, right?
Sure.
Like, oh yeah, well, let's add some lore. Oh, let's say blah blah blah, and then we throw it together and put some artwork on top to make it look nice. But ultimately, it really, that's not what's driving the bus. And I see as particularly as we get closer and closer to land, I really do think that people will be shocked that once the foundation is built, that Matt's trying to build, and he talks about it in the town halls all the time about, well, what about the onboarding? What about the tutorials? What about this? Well, guys, the game isn't. We're not done making it what it needs to be. Once we're done, then we can polish it up, add the tutorials where they make sense. We're not redoing the tutorials over and over again. Once that happens, like I've had meetings with him on this plenty of times. Where it's like, Nate, just bear with it a little longer. Just I know you want to do all this stuff, but just let's figure out the engine, get it running nice and smooth under the hood. And once it's there, once it's rumbling and you put the pedal down, you could hear it rev. And oh yeah, that sounds good. That's a purr. Once we get there, okay, Nate's going to be unleashed to like chrome everything out, tint the windows, add a big spoiler. We're going to add it's going to be nuts. We're going to put a big stereo system inside. We're going to go crazy. And we'll get that AAA polished super experience that everyone I think is chomping at the bit with. But when that happens, when that day finally comes, I think people will be shocked at what the Splinterlands IP, that it has just as much value as the tokenomics or anything else that people get excited about. What's the ROI and what's my liquidity pools at? I mean, when we make it so that the lore is driving the game development, where before it was the afterthought. Sure. When the narrative team is in the driver's seat riding the bus, holy crap! Where we end up is going to be pretty exciting, very game like. All those people who decided to I'm just going to let the bots run everything for me. I mean, hey, if that's what you want to do, obviously we're totally neutral on that. But I think that those who put the time and effort to know the lore, read the lore, get immersed in the whole experience, I promise you it's going to pay off someday. Your guys are going to be 10 steps ahead of all the people with their calculators who just kind of work in the numbers. When the game is so much more of a game than you guys will possibly imagine. And that's the day where all the geeks in us will be like, yeah, this is what you've been waiting for.
Thanks for watching. Here's a couple of videos for you to check out. And of course,
hit that like button and that subscribe button right next to it.
We appreciate you all.
We're having a good time.